Hello everyone, I'm Heather Dawson, and it's a pleasure bringing you the best of California every week on our show. So let's start off with a trip to the wine country. When you think of wine, one name comes to mind. Mondavi has been an industry standard for over half a century. California Life's Monique Sultani takes a closer look at the legacy behind the legendary name.
Established in 1861, Charles Krug Winery was the first commercial winery in the Napa Valley. And now, nearly 150 years later, they continue to make history by putting family first.
We weren't seeking, the highest profits or anything like that, but really just family. Family is priority.
If the name Krug doesn't roll off your tongue, Mondavi might be a little easier to swallow. It's arguably the most notable name in the wine world. Proprietor Peter Mondavi Jr. bears the name behind the bottle.
History here at the Peter Mondavi family and the Charles Krug Winery is very extensive, very rich. We go way back to the mid-1800s. In 1943, my grandparents bought the Charles Krug Winery. My dad and my uncle, Robert Mondavi, built it up, ran it together up until 1965, and that's when Robert split off and started his winery only about 7 miles down the road. Of course, Robert Mondavi Winery. And then we maintained 100% ownership of Charles Krug in my half of the family.
What does it mean to be born into a brand?
When I was a little kid, it really didn't have much significance, but it's kind of wonderful now, traveling the country, especially restaurants.
You're like Brad Pitt, you go through probably just signing autographs.
It's a little smaller circle than Brad has, but it's a fun circle.
In wine country, Mondavi could run circles around Brad and Hollywood's A-list elite, given their historical significance and innovations in the industry.
We have 2 historical landmarks here at the winery, both state and federally registered. The redwood cellar we use today as a reserve barrel aging room, and the carriage house, which is adorned by a beautiful lawn with these 150-year-old oak trees around it. That's used really for entertaining. When my father was going to Stanford, he determined and concluded that a colder fermentation for whites produces an exceptional white wine, whereas warmer fermentations for reds produces a great character for the reds. Now, today, it's a worldwide industry standard.
Living legend Peter Mondavi Sr. revolutionized the wine world, and at 95, he has no plans to retire.
He gets here on Saturdays as well. He comes in about 10 o'clock or so in the morning. He'll stay till 5:30, sometimes 6. He lives right here on the property, so it's kind of convenient for him, and that's his love. He's not retiring to pursue some other hobby or interest. It is wine.
He's working 6 days a week. Do you feel pressure to work 7?
Well, I do a lot of traveling, so I'm gone quite a bit on the road and overnights and things like that. So at the end of the day, we put in our fair share.
Putting in their fair share means understanding the complexity of the New World's richest wine region.
One of the significant changes, and we have to go through decades, is the real focus and concentration and understanding what this valley does best. But today, we are focused, and the Napa Valley is focused on what I refer to as Bordeaux reds. So Cabernet and Merlot, the obvious ones, and then blenders. For those would be Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, a little bit of Malbec.
They might be borrowing from Bordeaux, but when it comes to the Krug blend, authenticity is rooted on the inside.
It's kind of half science and half art, and I think the art part is really one of the things that differentiates us from other wineries, other areas. And you have to go with your heart in making wine.
With their hearts on their sleeves and a 150-year history on the horizon, the Mondavis have managed to keep it in the family for 3 generations. And now, 45 years after the rift that rocked the wine world, both the Peter and Robert Mondavi sides of the family have blended for a one-of-a-kind wine.
This barrel here is very unique, one of a kind, never been produced before. This is really a gathering of the extended Mondavi family. Through Morton's and Make-A-Wish Foundation, we have come together to blend this one single barrel.
The next generation joins forces for a good cause and proves blood is thicker than wine. So the the next time you're in Napa, don't forget to stop by the Valley's oldest winery. The history will get you in the door, but the hospitality will keep you coming back for more. Bringing you the best of California.
Life's too short to stick to one wine.
From Napa, I'm Monique Saltani for California Life.
And coming up next, if you think vaping is safe, you're fooling yourself. Our in-studio guest talks about the dangers of this new addiction. Plus, find out what Oprah, Judy Garland, and a boat captain all have in common when we come back with entertainment. And inside Landon Donovan's new soccer team in San Diego. All this and more when we come back.
Hi, my name is EC. That's what my friends call me. I'm an electronic cigarette. I was assembled and brought to life in a factory somewhere in China. I have a battery pack, a heating element called an atomizer, a cartridge tank where I store my flavored electronic juice, and a light. I went on a journey one day to a store in California. After a few days, I found a new friend named Dax. We spent a lot of time together. He took me everywhere with him. I was there through the good and bad times. I was there during stressful times for school projects and college applications. I was also there to hang out with friends at homecoming. But one day, Dax got really sick. He kept coughing and wheezing. I heard he had popcorn lung. This is a condition where a chemical called diacetyl damages and blocks his airways. It got so bad he needed a lung transplant, but it was too late. I was abandoned just collecting dust on a shelf. But one day, Dax's girlfriend found me and looked at me with anger and resentment. "It's all your fault," she yelled at me. She grabbed me and threw me in the trash. I now realize it is partially my fault for Dax's death. The chemical that damaged his lungs is found in the juice I contain. I didn't realize I was so harmful. Be knowledgeable. Share this information. It could save you or your friends. If you or someone you know need help quitting their use of e-cigarettes or tobacco, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Five people have died from vaping-related lung disease as the number of total cases in the U.S. tops 450. How much more damage will be done before vaping is prevented? Joining us in studio is Dr. Mona Hacker to discuss the impact of this latest addiction. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And I know that we've talked about this before. We're both moms, so we know that it's a big deal with teens right now. And I heard recently, actually this morning, that Michael Bloomberg is donating $160 million to banning e-cigarettes and the sweet smell. And why do you think it's so prevalent with teens?
Well, I think it's become an epidemic. It's a crisis in the country, I think, right now. And I think the reason that teens are especially susceptible is because of the marketing that was taking place. Now, I know the FDA is starting to come down on some of that marketing, but with e-cigarettes, and there's many different kinds of e-cigarettes, I'll start with that, but Juul has the biggest market share. With their sleek design, looking like a flash drive, it's discreet, it's sleek, it's easy, it's accessible to teens. On top of which, they were marketing it with all these flavors, and these flavors like bubblegum and Tutti Frutti, which of course, again, are attracting those young adults, middle schoolers, high schoolers. And once they get started, we know that nicotine is one of the most addictive substances out there. And children and young adults are even more vulnerable to this addiction.
For people that might not understand, juuling versus vaping, I mean, all these terminology that's out that we're hearing every day, but tell us the difference.
Absolutely. So I think the most important thing for parents and for all of us is to become educated about this because it's becoming so prevalent, unfortunately. So e-cigarettes are any type of battery-operated device where you basically have a liquid inside that can contain either nicotine or sometimes THC, which is the active ingredient which causes the high in marijuana, and then a bunch of other chemicals. You're vaporizing these chemicals and the nicotine and inhaling it. We talk about juuling because Juul has the biggest market share, and so it's thus become this verb. But you're vaping when you use a Juul as well. So vaping is just the act of using an e-cigarette of any kind.
Do you think people are shocked that, we've had deaths?
Absolutely, because ironically, e-cigarettes came out as a safer alternative to smoking. And thus, I think people took that as this is safe. And I'm often asked, is this safe? absolutely it is not safe. And we know even more so now how unsafe it is. But there's plenty of things we still don't know because those chemicals in that liquid that's in there have many different components, which can be, when heated up, can be dangerous. Some of those ingredients, you might read them and say, oh, that's not dangerous, that's not dangerous. Yes, if you ingest it, it may not be, but when you make it a vapor and it's going down into your pulmonary tree, that can become very dangerous, and thus we're seeing, and now I can even tell people it's actually deadly, because now we've had those 5 deaths and hundreds of people hospitalized with this respiratory illness. So there's a lot of different factors when we're thinking about the dangers of vaping.
What do you tell parents? I mean, what's the best thing that we can do for our kids? I mean, obviously we tell them this is bad, people are dying, but I mean, what's some real sound advice?
So exactly, it's hard to just tell our kids this is bad, don't do it. They may listen to that, but that's not the best way to have the conversation. I usually counsel parents to try to make it a more natural conversation, like you're driving by a sign that has something about e-cigarettes, or you hear a story or something's on the news. That's when you bring it up sort of naturally, have a conversation. When you expose yourself, your brain gets connected in a different way. And I think kids, they don't want to have memory loss, they don't want to have concentration problems, and they also don't want to give up control. And when you tell them how they're more susceptible to becoming addicted, they don't want anything to control them, whether it's us or that. So, you know, there's just different ways, and everyone knows their own children and what might work, but definitely the conversation and being there and watching them and knowing what's going on is key.
Exactly, like what we're doing. And I know that you do a lot of local news programming as well down in San Diego. And, you know, this is something that you're passionate about, you know, getting it out there and also being a mom. So I just appreciate you being on our show.
Oh, thank you.
And obviously any more information, they can go to our website as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And coming up next, find out what Oprah, Judy Garland, and a boat captain all have in common when we come back with entertainment and inside Landon Donovan's new soccer team in San Diego. All this and more when we come back. California Life brings you the best of California. California Life brings you news that is relevant to your life in the Golden State. I'm Heather Dawson, the host of California Life. Tune in to California Life in your city. The silver screen will soon welcome that old familiar tune with a certain skipper, a redhead, a professor, and a crewman. Gilligan's Island, the movie, is set for casting. Some familiar faces to be watched on shore. Beyonce and Seth Rogen are rumored to star in the modern take of the classic TV series. And we're guessing it won't appear on our book club list anytime soon, but the unauthorized and sometimes unflattering Oprah Winfrey biography by Kitty Kelly is being adapted for the big screen. There's still no word of who's in the running to play the Big O, but there might not be too many actresses eager to cross the queen of talk shows. And this is the perfect time to cuddle up and snuggle to a fall movie. There are so many headed to the big screen right now and to the box office. One of my personal favorites is Downton Abbey. Let's check out a teaser trailer. Landon Donovan is the face of the new USL soccer team in San Diego. The soccer legend also lent his talents to kids at a local park.
I think we're understanding pretty clearly how popular street soccer and soccer like this is in San Diego. San Diego is arguably the biggest soccer market in this country, and if we keep providing opportunities like this for people to come out and play, they'll do it. Playing with Donovan here in our community, it feels real good because you know they're professional players and they're still willing to come out and play with you guys. And having an opportunity for my kids to come out and face them, it's really nice to see. It gives them like that little hope, you know, that someday they could do the same for them.
Really cool to be with a professional soccer player because you never get to get these chances. Dream come true.
If you love soccer, you want to get better, play as much as you can. You don't need structured practice all the time. You can play out here just like these kids are, but most importantly, have fun. So it's pretty incredible what Bridge Barcata have done here. The guys a few months ago just came up with this idea where they wanted to start something fun and special for this city that was free and that was enjoyable. And you're seeing it bring the city together. You're seeing people from all parts of San Diego coming here to enjoy this game that we love.
Barrio Lincoln is a very public place, but it's also a place where this culture, the futsal, the street culture, has a nice home here based on the traditional Latinx culture and what that's brought to America. So we felt like this is a perfect marriage of spot and what we're trying to bring in terms of culture. So that's just how it happened. And then since we came here, we've just exploded in terms of the number of people that show up.
Finally having a team here in San Diego is going to be an amazing opportunity to finally watch professional soccer, going with my family, with friends, just having something to do related to soccer other than playing on the weekends.
Because sickle cell patients look like there's nothing wrong with them, it can be hard for others to understand that they have a chronic incurable disease, leading to stigma and misunderstanding.
Many individuals living with sickle cell disease are characterized as being lazy, or they're characterized as being drug-seeking because they show up at the emergency room looking for medication to help alleviate their pain. Unfortunately, because of the opioid crisis in this country, many sickle cell patients are described as being drug-seeking when in fact they're just looking for help.
Patients experience episodes of extreme pain that could land them in the hospital.
Well, sickle cell disease is our life, and so when we were approached about the campaign Sickle Cell Speaks, which is in partnership with Global Blood Therapeutics, we were honored to lend our voice and our story to educate not only people in the United States, but around the world.
The website sicklecellspeaks.com features the stories of real patients and caregivers. The goal is to educate the public while also offering support to those with the disease.
Pearson's new Global Learner Study surveyed 11,000 people in 19 countries, revealing that students and learners are shifting toward DIY or do-it-yourself learning.
They're trying to figure out, how do I skill, upskill, reskill throughout my life in a way that works for me? And they're mixing and matching different education opportunities like online learning, short courses.
Findings show that as more people take gig jobs and change careers often, lifelong learning is necessary at all ages. Findings also show a majority believe that more people will be taking college courses online in 10 years. But one of the top results is Gen Z's outlook on getting a traditional college education at all.
They believe in learning, they think education is important. However, they're really questioning, is it right for me to get a traditional four-year degree? Is the return on the investment going to be big enough for me?
Learn more and see the entire survey at Pearson.com.
And that's it for us. If you missed any part of our show, go to our website, CaliforniaLifeHD.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and check out our YouTube channel, voted top channel in California. I'm your host, Heather Dawson. We'll see you next time.
Watch us on our YouTube channel. Stay connected to our social media, like our blogs on Facebook. Follow our tweets on Twitter. And check out our posts on Instagram and Pinterest, where we bring you the best of California.
Hi, this is Steven Tyler, and I love California Life.
Hey, I'm Christina Perry, and I love California Life.
We love California Life.
Hi, I'm Joe Buck, and I love California Life.
Hi, I'm Nick Barrios, fashion designer. You may know me from Project Runway, and you're watching California Life.